up, y'all? It's TTAR, and today we're looking at what Pokemon in Kalos might Mega Evolve in Pokemon Legends ZA, trying to think how Game Freak would think. Last time we left off with Aurorus and TyranitarTube, and we gave them both the checkmark, but we're not gonna be that free. We are trying to be strict on this list. So next up is Sylveon. So I already made a video about Sylveon and a potential counterpart in this game, Drakeon or something. There's a good shot they could get megas. Sylveon is another one of those faces of Kalos, and it sounds pretty right that you would get a mega Sylveon and a mega Drakeon or something, but not for the other Eeveelutions, just for these two, which you might think, oh, that's unfair. Bro, Game Freak not gonna be fair. How come Slowbro got a mega and Slowking don't? But, you know, building on that point, that is kind of a downside to this idea, because unlike less important Pokemon like Slowbro and Slowking, Eevee is one of their mascots in Pokemon, and they keep all its Eeveelutions equal. So to suddenly make Sylveon capable of reaching a 625 BST when it Mega Evolves, it means there's ultimately a better path for Eevee, and it would break the balance. Unlike with Applin, it doesn't matter if there's a better path through Diplin and then Hydrapple, making the other two ass, because that's something they intentionally wanted to do with Applin, giving it a realistic, better evolution. But Eevee is meant to be balanced in all its evolutions. To be honest though, I don't think Game Freak cares. I'm gonna give Sylveon the checkmark. Yeah, I gotta see some fan art for this. So its entries, like in Legends Arceus, talk about its ribbon-shaped organs and how they can wrap these appendages to calm Pokemon down. Scarlet calls it a ribbon-like feeler, erasing others' hostility. So the ultimate thing they would do is, this is Sylveon's big weapon, these ribbons. This is what should be expanded when it Mega Evolves. Okay, this is a cool one. So they pretty much made its feelers big, put the ribbons all over its body, and gave it little fairy wings. That kind of looks like something Game Freak would do. This is a really cool, elegant way to make a Mega Sylveon. And you gotta remember, Mega Evolution brings out stuff sometimes the Pokemon has long forgotten it's had. So it would just be like forcefully bringing out more of the fairy type. And so it makes sense that it gets those wings. So take that checkmark, Sylveon. Something alternative they could do, Game Freak, is instead of giving Sylveon a Mega, check out this idea. In Pokemon Legends EA, you find the Vaporeonite, Jolteonite, and Flareonite. They just Mega Evolved the first three, so Sylveon doesn't get one. That would be something Game Freak would do too. You know, a homage to the original three. I know it's kind of Kanto pandering, and we just got so much Kanto pandering already in all the Megas. That would be the only reason I'd say it's less likely. But those are two options Game Freak would do. They would make a Mega Sylveon / Drakeon. We can't talk about that side yet. Or they would homage the first three. To me, Mega Sylveon's the better idea though. Let's go to the next one. Hawlucha. Easy one, bro. Hawlucha, you're not Mega Evolving. Hawlucha's not getting a Mega. Now, Hawlucha does fall in the category of the Diggersby phenomenon I've said a couple videos ago, which is that Diggersby has room to evolve, and it's something they can now do in more recent Pokemon games, so they won't be so free-giving and giving 2-stage or 1-stage Pokemon Megas. And Hawlucha especially falls in that case. Come on, think of Absol. That should have been an evolution to Absol, right? That's how Pokemon would have wanted to do it. It's extremely unlikely to me that they would Mega Evolve Hawlucha. We could just go to the basics for that. Now, of course, Game Freak can make me look like an idiot, but what I think would be cool they do with Hawlucha is give it like a split evolution. Yeah, not just one evolution, 2 evolutions. See, Hawlucha is an extremely powerful Pokemon. 500 BST off the bat. It's also very unique because it's a fighting flying type, which now only Galarian Zapdos has. And it also has that signature move that's both flying and fighting, right? It should get 2 evolutions to bring out like 2 different personalities in it. But we gotta be a bit clever here, because Hawlucha in its Pokédex entries is not described as a weak Pokemon at all. So right now, Game Freak set it up to make it hard to give it an evolution. I'll give you some examples. Look at this. Although its body is small, its proficient fighting skills enable it to keep up with big bruisers like Machamp and Hariyama. It's fighting Machamp now. You could say the reason it's able to keep up is because of that flying typing. I would say that's the way to go about it, that Hawlucha is more of a strategic Pokemon. As it says in like this entry, it overwhelms opponents with quick moves. In combat, Hawlucha leaps nimbly about, taking advantage of its opponents' blind spots. It's also described to be quite an elegant Pokemon despite how annoying it was in Scarlet and Violet. And I could bring up the classic idea that back in the day, Hawluchas had harder opponents to fight that would have pushed them stronger than modern Hawlucha. But modern Hawlucha are also being pushed. Check this out in Violet. Hawlucha live quietly without flocking together. They fight constantly with their natural enemies in Paldea. Noisy group of Primeape. So clearly Primeape had to keep up with Hawlucha and they became this fighting ghost type. Which is perfect. Flying Press goes right... You tell me Primeape evolved to fight Hawlucha by dying? Anyhow, so Game Freaks put themselves in a tough spot for improving Hawlucha, but really they just gotta be clever with it, right? You just have to evolve Hawlucha in a different way. Not that it was in tougher conditions then, but that it had a different purpose then. Like, for example, here's the best idea I could say. Hawlucha is like this wrestler Pokemon, right? Remind me of like Rey Mysterio. So you could also have it so that Hawlucha evolves back then because you put it in the right show-off mindset. You see, like a wrestler, they would strike a pose, taunt, try to put on a show, and you just have to make it so back in the days, that was more prevalent back then, and it could evolve further. And I could show you proof for this, right? Look at this. In Shield, it always strikes a pose before going for its finishing move. Sometimes, opponents take advantage of that time and beat it up. So it's in Hawlucha's blood to want to be this show character. Sometimes it showboats for too long when using a special move and gets itself in a pinch. This is the key I want to focus on. So the way you could have split evolutions is both of them would be triggered in some form through it putting on a show. Maybe since this game takes place in Lumiose, you could have a good crowd watching. So without doing anything special, it will just naturally evolve in that Lumiose city. The same way Hisuian Typhlosion naturally evolves from Quilava as long as you're in the older Sinnoh. Something with the Mount Coronet energy. You don't gotta teach it a special move or use an evolution stone or anything. The location causes it to evolve like that. So the same could happen here because there's a bunch of people around. And in terms of how its evolution could look, I could think of a couple ideas. One could be something like, you see how Hawlucha's face is masked? It could be something like Hawlucha when it evolves, its face is more bird-like and it loses the markings. And so Hawlucha doesn't like that, and so it always tends to wear an exterior mask. And through this, you can create an ability, kind of like Mine Yours or kind of like Mimikyu's, which is about how Hawlucha is wearing a mask on top of itself. It could be something like its stats actually go down when it loses that mask because it doesn't want people seeing its real face. Or it could be something like Emergency Exit, where if you attack it and it goes to half health, it loses its mask and actually dips. On the flip side, you could give it a good ability where if it loses its mask, its stats go up because it's enraged and it's going to quickly beat you up. It's going to stop being a showboat. That could work too, but I know Game Freak's dying to make some bad abilities. It sounds like they would do it for that. So yeah, I think giving Hawlucha 2 split evolutions, taking advantage of its wrestling motive, would be really fitting. I would say make one of them fast and then make one of them more offensively strong. And they would be using Flying Press in different ways. But yeah, the last thing I think Hawlucha should get is a Mega Evolution. I'm giving you the X, bro. I do feel it. Some Pokemon that's only one stage is gonna Mega Evolve in Legends EA, just so Game Freak can make it look like they haven't been changing their mind. But deep down, I know they don't want to do it anymore. And I don't think Hawlucha gonna become Mega Hawlucha in this game. You know what? Let's look up some Mega Hawluchas. This will be good. Okay, so here's one where they gave it a more humanoid look, which makes sense, right? That's what they're going for. This freaking looks like something Pokemon would do. That kind of looks crazy. You just have to stare at it for long enough. I don't know how it has Pokeball arms. They seem to have based it off Eagle Warriors in Aztec, which look like this, right? So pretty much the shields that they would carry, they made Hawlucha, Mega Hawlucha, carry these Pokeball shields. In some way, Hawlucha naturally, I guess that's what they're going for. Hawlucha is a wrestler because it has fighting in its blood. So in the modern day, it quickly leaned towards having fun with that. But the reason fighting is in its blood is because back then they were this Aztec warrior type. And so it brings it fully out when it Mega Evolves. Come on, after looking at a design like this, imagine this is one of the evolutions, right? Look at Hawlucha now. Do so, baby. You've already proven your worth. You can hang with Machamps. You can beat up Primeapes. You cause them to evolve. Get an evolution, bro. Conquer the world. In fact, evolving a 500 BST, it's gonna hit like 550 BST minimum. Oh my goodness. This Okay, so remember I said to split evolve them? This is actually an interesting take for how the other split evolution could go. I'm not sure how we're gonna feel about this, but it's not a bad idea at all. It's this right here. So, pretty much, Hawlucha has lost a lot of its humanoid look to fully become the bird it is deep down. It makes Hawlucha look more like the incomplete Pokemon that's supposed to pick its path. But this would be cool, right? So one evolution leans more into that humanoid wrestler type, and then the other evolution would revert it more into a bird. And the split we talked about works. So the bird one would be the extremely fast one, and then the humanoid one would be the one with a lot of attack. It's also cool, right? Because the bird could just perch up on the top of a tower and use flying press from there. They would have different styles for that move they perfected as an unevolved Hawlucha. I just thought of something really weird they could do is make the wrestler Hawlucha pure fighting and make this one pure bird, in the sense that Hawlucha really picked its path. They both still learn flying press, and they can make it so they both still get stabbed on flying press, but they're no longer that in between of fighting and flying. They picked distinct paths. That's kind of a cool idea too. Alright, y'all, we're done. Shank that like button. Next episode, we will go through the rest of the decks. But yeah, Hawlucha, you get in the X in terms of Mega. There's more interesting ideas here to give you an evolution. Let me know if y'all disagree. What ability and typing would you give to a Mega Sylveon or Mega Hawlucha? I'll see you on the next one. Take care.